Hi there. It's time again, once again, for Fraley's Weekly Blogs. I don't always do them at the same time every week, but sometimes I may even skip a week. But I got things to talk about today. I kind of do it at random. I do things here and there random, mainly the news. Uh, Let me see where I want to start. Oh yeah, I just wanted to start off by saying, yeah, I was kind of confronted a little bit this week about hate speech, and I don't really condone hate speech. Yeah, some people though take it wrong, especially liberal-minded people, and there are some people out there that claim to be liberal or claim to be Republican when in all actuality they're actually liberal. They're pretending to be Republican to go along with the establishment. They more or less are fake news too. They're fake people with fake news. They don't know what they are. They're liberal, and I'm not bad. I don't condone bashing anybody, but let me just say this: there are people out there who are liberal and they bash Republicans, and they think it's okay because it's justified in their mind, I guess. They don't see the other side of the coin. They see one way because that's typically how liberal is. They don't see the other side of the coin, the other guy's point of view, and they can't be open-minded. That's your typical liberal, and they'll argue uh, to the heavens and earth shake or thunder roars, but you ain't gonna get through to them. It's just a solid piece of concrete or steel up there, and nothing penetrates it. So they don't take in a whole lot. And I don't condone liberal, or I don't condone bashing other people, and I don't do it. Maybe I do public figures because that's lawful and you're allowed to do that. But I just wanted to say that again, they got to see the other side of the coin, and they can't for some reason. It's a disorder that affects them that way. I don't know why. Uh, I'm no psychologist or expert on it, and they just see their way and nobody else's. And you shouldn't, yeah, they shouldn't call other people racist and stuff when they don't get the whole story behind things. They just make up stuff they want to believe that the other side is, because populist as myself, and not really a Republican. I've always been kind of independent at heart, and I'm independent, but I voted Republican this time, and um, and I'm what you call a counterpuncher if I were a fighter, which I'm not, but if I were a fighter, I'd be what you call a counterpuncher. And if you're gonna bash me, I'm gonna bash you back. Only I'm gonna bash you back twice as hard, and I'm gonna win. And how I bash you back is I present you with the facts, and if you can't accept it, then you're beat. That's when you go down and for the count, and you're not coming back up. Because when I knock you out, you stay down. Because I'll just bombard you with so many facts and figures and truth that you just can't face up to it. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. But anyway, when you hit somebody, they're going to hit back. So you should expect it. I mean, you had your turn, you failed. Now it's the new regime's time to see if they can't straighten this country out and help people out instead of doing idiotic stuff and ruining the country, which the other side did, the liberals. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that. And this is going to sound kind of bad too, but really what needs to happen is a lot of people, it needs to be a cleansing of sort. And I'm not talking about ethnic cleansing either. I'm not talking about killing people out, but I'm talking about destroying a attitude that is totally wrong, that has no facts or basis, and can't, or an ideology that doesn't work, never has worked, never will work. Um, Liberalism will not work in this country. I mean, people have risen up and they're wise to it. The only ones that are uh, really unwise to it are the only ones that can't handle it is the ones that want free welfare, or they're either illegal and they want their criminal activities to continue, and they won't. Of course, they won't tell you this, but that's the way it is. Uh, and they can't handle it. They can't accept life. They can't function. They're 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 saying that the right is racist and bigots and everything else. Yet they're doing the same things that they claim the right's doing. The liberals, the left. So I think we have to clean that attitude up, and you won't do it overnight. You have to clean out the colleges. You have to clean the attitude out of that, straighten it up, get get a more conservative view in the in colleges, and start teaching more conservative things in the colleges and school systems, and even the teachers. They need some of them. I hate to put them down, not meaning to, but they went the wrong path in life, and it's not their fault. They've been partially raised up that way and taught things that are totally opposite of reality. And part of it is, again, is there's an ideology. You see, there's a communist ideology and socialist ideologies that sunk into America, and it come from other countries. Some of it from immigrants that came over here, and again, I'm not against immigrants coming over here, as long as they're peaceful and they assimilate to our society and accept our Constitution and our republic the way they should. But they haven't. So we have to. The only way to straighten our country up and get it back in shape that it once was. Again, this country's not perfect, but it's the greatest in the world, and the only way we can straighten it up is just to re-educate the masses and society in general, and teach it in our schools and our colleges, and uh, get rid of the liberal. Call me pinko. Excuse this expression. I know you heard that a long time ago. Liberal, commie, pinko, BS artists. That's what I call them, because that's all they're really teaching. An ideology that sounds smart. It's got a lot of fancy words, politically correct, but it's never worked in the world. I mean, even Russia fell apart, and if we don't watch it, our country's going to fall apart. California is already talking about signing petitions and to separate from our union, our United States. And if you remember right, in the late 1980s, what happened to Russia? All those satellite countries, and if you know what a satellite country is, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, you need to go back to high school, get re-educated all over again. But satellite nations, little buffer zones between Europe and Russia, they all fell, and the capitalist system more or less took over for the most part. And because the old system didn't work, our own President Reagan actually helped to start that. I mean, technology-wise, they could not keep up with us in the space race. The Russia actually started the space race in the 50s, and it took us a while to get going, but we actually outdid them. We outdid them in other technologies too, and and we started a war of attrition with technology, and we we defeated them, and Gorbachev admitted it. The Berlin Wall fell down. What was it, 1990 or 91? And then all those countries started falling. Little Soviet states within their own country, Georgia and a bunch of others, just started falling and started getting more independent. And so that's how it happens. And then eventually Russia gets into, becomes a more democratic society, more of a democratic country. Even though ours is still different from theirs. We have a lot more freedoms over here, but still, the system didn't work and it fell. As mighty as Russia was, that system went down. And if we don't watch it, our system is doomed to fail here simply because of a stupid ideology that doesn't work. I mean, that's totally wants a welfare state, so people will have to live off the government. The government will take care of them like kids. That's what they want, and that will never work. There's a lot of people that will be highly upset if that ever happens, and it could happen. And it didn't seem like it, but we get more and more protests, people hitting the streets, and it's happening all over this country now. They're protesting Trump's immigration plan now. I mean, not just for the wall, they're doing that too, but he's put a ban on refugees entering this country. He wants to vet them stronger, check their, to see who they are, and if the countries they come from can't provide us with the proper information and paperwork and stuff, then yeah, it's only common sense they shouldn't let them in here, because that leads to terrorism, because we don't know what we're getting from that group of idiots. And I can understand letting the children and even possibly some of the women in here too, but I would check their backgrounds extra hard too. I don't think the younger ones, the stronger ones, should be let in here so easy. I think they should have to go home and fight for their country. I mean, if their country's not worth fighting over, why would they want to come here and come to our country? I mean, the one idea that popped in my head is if they come, make them join the armed services somehow, and make send them back over here and fight for our country. Fight against this Islamic terrorists, the ISIS. Mm-hmm. Send them back over and make them fight. If they want to in here that bad, make them fight for it. There's a lot of sweat and blood. People died for this country. I mean, I've been lucky. I never had to go to war or anything, but a lot of people did and died. They're in a graveyard now, never to be heard from again. Just a memory, and that memory's strong in some of us. I had a lot of relatives in the military, and they're forgotten people now. But what they fought for is not forgotten. It's still alive and well and going. So why shouldn't these people have to fight for their country, especially the younger ones, 18, 19, or whatever? We lost a lot of people. Why shouldn't they lose some if they really want freedom as bad as they think? And if it's not worth standing up and fighting for over there, then why should we let them over here? Send them on their merry way. Or again, let's stick them out in California. They're trying to succeed from the Union anyway. And California is slowly falling off into the ocean anyway. So their country will not only die from inside from the degenerates and the transsexuals and homosexuals and pedophiles and rapists and illegal immigrants and all that other. I say stick them all in there. If they like, California didn't like the country anyway that dang much. They they gave their vote mainly to Clinton. It was before the election ever took part that Clinton had already won that state. So let's get off that. Um, did you see Trump's uh, inauguration speech? I thought it was pretty interesting. Right from the start of it, I knew it was biblical. I mean, a lot of it was right out of the Bible. That's what me and one teacher and I watched it at where I work, and I told her, I said, that's right out of the Bible. That's biblical. And she agreed after she started hearing certain things, but I knew it because before he even mentioned a scripture or whatever from the Bible, I knew it. We have to let, especially the part about we have to let our light shine instead of keeping it covered up, you know. So Trump's got his head in the right place, and he's a man of action, and I believe he'll put a lot of religious sentiment into it as well, and even some of the illegals that get in here. Or not illegal, excuse me, I mean refugees. A lot of the refugees that are going to come in, the ones with a Christian background and heritage, they should get top priority over Muslims or any other group, simply because we're a Christian nation and they would assimilate easier into our society. That's just my opinion, and that's Trump's opinion too, and that's a lot of other people's opinion, but you've got a lot of arrogant or what's the word for it? A lot of arrogant people who are against religion. I hate to say this, but a lot of you liberals are against Christianity, and you don't believe in God. You're just totally off somewhere, and you need help. I would get help if I were you. It's not altogether your fault, though. You've been brainwashed by those who taught you, and those who some of them are even raised up from parents that believe that. I was raised a Democrat myself, but that was back before the Democrats went nuts. Started all this BS that's going on. Ideology shifts. The ideology's gradually becoming socialist and gradually becoming, and once it goes socialist, then there's nothing more. Then fascism is the next stage, or not fascism, but well, some of that too. There's a little bit of that out there too. But communism's the next stage when people become completely reliant upon the government for their basic needs, and they can't get work to make enough to pay for their needs. Then they have to look to the government for it, and that's what the government wants. So they'll follow the government, and then they become peasants. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be a peasant. I don't have the greatest life in the world myself. I've had very little money, even on my job. A lot of people where I work probably consider me a peasant, but I don't make that much, even though I'm probably better educated than most of them in there. And I think sometimes that kind of hurts me on where I work at, because people think I know it all, but I don't. It's because I have an open mind and I'm willing to read and find out and be informed that kind of offends some people. They won't see it that way and they won't admit to it, but you can look them in the eye and it's there. I've seen it many times. And there's a lot of people who claim to be my superior, but they're not. I mean, they may have a higher position, but they're not my superior. And they never will be. Not as long as I'm breathing anyway. And can read and find out and be informed about stuff. And not even in where you work at, there's disinformation spread, fake news, and a lot of people believe it. And there's a lot to talk about, but I don't want to. My Green Bay Packers lost and the Razorbacks lost. Razorbacks got completely blown out. That's the worst game I've seen Arkansas play in ages in basketball. The Oklahoma State Cowboys just got up, probably up to a 30-something point lead or a 30-point lead at one point. I think, forget what the score was. I didn't watch the end of it. I got frustrated. I turned it off and did something else. I couldn't handle it because I kept thinking, maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll come back. Because they've been that kind of team this year. They've come back. But, of course, that was on the road game, Oklahoma State University. And they weren't that great of a team. I think they were 12-8 and we were 16-4. But on that day and at that time, they looked better than even Kentucky looked to me. Kentucky's pretty awesome with the players they've got. But Oklahoma State looked like they could beat anybody in the country yesterday. But anyway, what else do I want to talk about? About time for the Super Bowl, and I want to say this. Those aren't my Super Bowl teams. My Packers are not in there, so I can't accept it. So I'm going to put in a petition against them and make them resign and make them let the Packers play. If they can do that about Trump, then why can't I do that about my Super Bowl team? I do not like the Falcons, and I don't like the Patriots that much either, even though I'm going to pull for the Patriots. Yeah, I think I'm just kind of tired of talking today. Not much to really talk about more. Plus, Facebook. Man, I like Facebook and I like this new system I got, but I think they ought to allow more time, because I think it's, what is it, about 35, 40, 45 minutes is all they allow, and then they cut you off. On other networks like Vaughn Live, and I used to be on Justin TV, and I used to be on Ustream. I don't do that much anymore. I don't do Ustream anymore because I like to play music online, and they don't allow it. But Bond Live allows it. I guess they have some kind of subscription thing. They pay for it or something, and you play whatever you want to on there. But this is a new kind of deal. Facebook, I like it because you can reach all over the world. They've got a live map where you can go on there and see broadcasts from TV stations and stuff from other countries, and can kind of see what's going on. You can kind of look in and spy in on this stuff. I really like where technology is heading to. It's kind of linking everything together, and it's come a long ways in the last since the late 90s when I first started doing it, or the mid to late 90s and the early 90s too. I did a little bit, but it's really come a long ways. And anyway, that's all I got to say for today. So long till next time. This is Fraley's Weekly Blogs signing off.